Just because I hate it when people start a video without showing the end result first, this is Git PDM. It allows you to connect your GitHub account to FreeCAD files and use a Git workflow for revision control. The features I've added are on the left-hand side. You can see a repo browser. So if you point this at a repo, it will render your FreeCAD files with little previews. So you can just quickly kind of pop through a bunch of files to see what's in them. And on the right-hand side, you can see you've got a repo directory, a connection to a GitHub account, and then kind of a status of, is this computer local repo ahead or behind that of up in the cloud. And once you've got a bunch of things collected, you can type in a repo commit message and commit and push that back up into the cloud. Once that is pushed up into the cloud, it becomes available over here. So if I come in here, within previews, I've got accessible STL files. These STL files render in GitHub, so I thought it was just a good, use case to put an STL there, but all of your FreeCAD files remain nice and open right in the front repo directory. So that's Git PDM. If you're interested, I guess keep watching. All right, in this video, I want to walk you through this project I've been working on called Git PDM. Essentially, it's an open source project that uses GitHub to sync, merge, push, kind of version control FreeCAD files. The goal is to not be the most technically complex, but to be kind of the simplest for people to use. So the way I have it set up, you should be able to connect your GitHub account with like 2 button clicks and start working with revision controlled files. I do hope to add to this as time goes on, but as it stands, I'm going to do a quick kind of demo of what it currently does. So to use this, you're going to need a GitHub account. You can just go to github.com and kind of sign up. You're going to need a working instance of Git. Git is the basis of GitHub. Git is a version control scheme. So you can just come to this website shown up here, download it for your system, whatever the appropriate system is. You can verify that you've got a working copy of Git by opening a terminal and just typing git double dash version, and you should get some form of response giving you a version number. If you have that, you should be good to go. GitHub account, you do need, obviously FreeCAD to be downloaded and installed. For now, Git PDM is something that needs to be manually installed. Eventually, I do plan on adding it to the add-on manager, but I'd like to roll in a few more features before making it public like that. So for now, the way you install it is you come over to here, this green button, you click download zip. That's going to download it onto your system. You can come in here, extract that file. Inside of here, you'll have this folder. You can open another file explorer, and up here, just type %, app data, %, /FreeCAD, /mod. And this is a folder where, this is your FreeCAD folder. Mod is kind of where any of the add-ons end up living. So if this doesn't exist, you can add it, and then you just simply drag and drop this into mod. So you'll see that up in here. To get it to show up within FreeCAD, you have to restart. So we'll close it, we'll open it back up. And you'll see it adds itself up to the toolbar here. So if you click on Git PDM, 2 toolbars are added. On the left-hand side over here, we've got a repository browser. So once we're up and loaded with a repo, all the files will be displayed here. You can control how many backups you're storing of each. And you'll have a little preview file, just a PNG of what's in that file, so you don't have to open it. And then on the right-hand side is your main GUI for it. So up in the top, you've got repository control. Right now, let me disconnect this and I'll go through the process of connecting GitHub. So the way this works is first you want to connect your GitHub account. So we'll click connect. What it does is it automatically copies this device flow thing onto your clipboard. It's going to open a web browser to continue. So continue this, just paste that code and hit continue, and then authorize. And you give it a second. This should pop through and say, great, you're connected. And what this does is it allows my account, Nerd-Sniped, to connect to this Git PDM system, and now I can come in here and look for projects. It works both on private and public projects. You can also, if you've got a URL of a repository that you want to clone, you can just type that in here and it'll handle the cloning and all that good stuff for you. For this example, what we're going to do is start a new project. So in here, I'm just going to put something on my desktop. We'll say my awesome project, why not? We'll make it a private repo. So hit next. You can keep these, you can read about it if you want. And we'll wait for it to start a new project, push it up to the cloud, all that good stuff. So I can open the folder, and these are all the things that have been created to support Git PDM working. From here, you can start making parts like you normally would. So I'll come in here, say, I'm going to make a nice bolt, simple little bolt. Nothing crazy. Sure, very complicated. Make a bolt. And then save it. So I'm gonna make sure I go to the right depot. My awesome project, and just save it in here. We'll call this a bolt. I'll move a little bit, yada yada. Excellent. Now you can see we've got two unsaved changes here. The bolt, these are the things that have been changed. I can always check for updates, but since this is a new repo, there's not going to be anything new there. Keep going, we'll make a new part. So we'll say, here, great, so I've got a wrench and a bolt. Got a new bolt and a wrench, and then some previews that are being built. So 3 total unsaved changes. I can add a little commit message. So I'll say added wrench and bolt, and I will commit and push. So what this is doing is it's saving it both locally and sending it up to the cloud for me. So now I've got a repo. My computer could catch on fire right now, and I'd be able to recover this project nearly instantaneously. So if I come over to the repo browser and hit refresh, I'm going to have a bolt and a wrench in there. At this point, it's up in the cloud. So I can come over here, go to my repos, and I have my awesome project here. My computer at this point could catch on fire, explode, and I would still have access to these parts. Inside of the repo, there's going to be a previews folder. Inside that preview folder, there will be an STL file of each. This is just so that it's easier to browse a project. GitHub automatically launches this 3D viewer for STL files, so I just drop those in the root directory of the previews folder, so it's easy to see and access parts like this. So let's say I've opened a new instance and I want to modify the bolt. So I'll come in here, modify it like you normally would. I'll add something that's nice and visible. And let's do the wrench too. Click on that and we'll say we want to add a chamfer over here. Make it a little more visible. Okay. So for both of these, I can save this guy and I will save this guy. And now I'll say, made them nicer. I'll come in and push. So again, this is now up in the cloud. So instantly I can come over here, I can say, my awesome project, and these were just updated now. So I can come in here and say, previews, bolt, you got your nice round on, and your wrench, you got a nice chamfer on. And this goes back to these FreeCAD files are sitting in there. If you come in here for previews, in each of these, your backups are saved. If I come back over here, you've got how many backups you'd like to save of each, or you can just default to saving all of them. And these are, since it's in a GitHub branch, everything is revision tracked, so you can always go back in time to old files if you'd like. So final functionality note. Let's say my computer exploded and I have a new, computer and I no longer have access to the computer that had the files on it. But since everything is up on the cloud, I can come here, I can just pick my where I'd like to keep this, and I'll say my awesome. I'll come in here. We just add a new folder. My awesome project after computer exploded. Sure. So my computer just exploded. Not a big deal. I'm back up and running. So yeah, that's more or less it. The goal here is to just kind of lower the barrier to entry with, just a connect to GitHub button. You can now have some revision control in your files. They are super easy to browse on the internet. You can pull them up and show people parts, assemblies, that kind of thing inside of GitHub, and have, kind of full backups available. So that is Git PDM. It's fully open source. It's public right now. I will be kind of releasing new features as time goes on, but feel free to dive in, look at the code, see if there's anything you'd like to tweak. Feel free to open issues if there's any concerns or questions, or if you want to improve the code and send a pull request, I'm more than happy to have people help me improve this. That's it for now. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next one.